Hi, this is Justin Shantie from the JDR J-Star KTM team. This is this week's TransWorld Motocross how-to presented by Lucas Oil. Today I'm going to show you how to put a hole shot device on your fork guard, and then we'll put it on the bike and get it all lined up for you. One of the reasons why you would put a hole shot device on your bike is it compresses the forks down and helps the bike not wheelie off of the start with such a high rev when the gate drops. There's different heights. It's all going to depend on your riding style and your weight and your suspension setup. But the kit from Hammerhead comes with a template, just some kind of a couple different heights. This one today we're going to put it at 100 millimeters. Just a couple things you're going to need you can get from Home Depot or whatnot. You just need like a measure stick or a tape measure to measure how far down on the button you're going to go. You need like a countersink bit, like a uni bit, like a step drill bit, a drill, a pick, a screwdriver, maybe a Sharpie to make your line, and I use a torch instead of like drilling with a drill bit. It just makes it a little bit faster. So let's get started. Just take your measure stick and measure down however high you've decided to make your button. You want to try to measure in the middle of the guard. You don't want it too far in one side, definitely not too far to the inside, just so it doesn't hit the wheel and it's not hard to push the button in. So I'm going to make this one at 100. Just going to measure down 100 millimeters on my stick here. Then I'm just going to make a line. I'm just going to take my step bit on a regular drill and drill through. Just take into account the size of the button itself that pushes through the pin to hook onto the guard, or onto the ring. It doesn't have to be too big. I always make mine just a little bit bigger than the hole, just in case it would ever get off center. It won't snag on the fork. So. Just gonna drill that through. You can go right through the graphic. It actually makes it easier and makes it look a little bit cleaner than having to do it and then put the graphic on and having to cut around it. So I do it from the back just a little bit to clean it up. Okay. Just get it lined up in the middle. Kind of hold it, and then I'm just going to take my pick, turn the torch on. Just get the pick hot. It'll slip right through the plastic. Make sure it's straight. Just kind of heat it up so it glows. Then just hold it with your thumb and just poke this hole here. And you can do the bottom one as well. Then poke this one. By now, the melted fork guard should keep the button in place so you can turn it around and get the hole that you were covering up before. Get this one just a little bit harder because after you do the fourth hole, go back and just clean out the other four and make sure everything's straight, or the other three. Work it through. Just kind of clean out the other ones. Right. You can either use a knife, or sometimes I even use the end of like the measure stick. You don't want to tear up your graphics too much, but there's a lot of melted plastic in between the button and the fork guard that you can take off so it sits a little bit flatter. Just kind of clean it off. All right. I'm gonna change my bit here and just put this smaller one in, because from the pick, it's not quite big enough to put the screw through. It kind of makes it real tight. So I'm just gonna go to the very first step of the bit, just to open the hole up just a little bit. I do it from both sides. Okay. Now the holes are a little bit bigger. You'll feel the graphic or even the fork guard itself is pushed out just a little bit. You can change your bit if you'd like into a countersink bit here, and just clean the holes up a little bit. Don't push too hard. You don't want to take any mass amount of material away from it. So just cleans it up a little bit. Okay, like so. All right, and you want to do the same thing on the back. You want to push a little bit harder. You want to actually countersink the fork guard for the bolt because it has a countersunk head on it. You don't want any of the bolt to be sticking out. You want everything to be flush because if it sticks out, it's going to catch your fork on the way up and down, and it's going to do some damage. So you want everything to be flat inside, you know, pushed into the fork guard, as well as the button. It'll sit way inside there. So just gonna countersink these a bit. Okay. All right, now we're ready to put the fork button on. The hole shot button on. All right. Like I said, there's not an up or down, but whichever way you burnt the holes in, make sure you do it the same way because I don't think the holes are the same on the other side. So just flip it over, just with a regular Phillips screwdriver. Just don't tighten them all the way down. Get all 4 of the screws in before you start tightening down, just so it can float a little bit and all the holes line up. I like to go across so that get the bottom one here. They kind of go in at a little bit of an angle. If it feels like it's getting hard, just back it out and start over because it'll strip the threads inside here pretty easy. Make sure it shouldn't bind up at all. Everything's pretty lined up. So. All right, now that you got the button all built, you're gonna put it on your fork. I've already installed the fork ring on the fork. That's all you're gonna do with that is just pull your front wheel off, pull the fork leg off, and just slide it right over. It'll fall right down. Don't try to stretch it over it. It'll mess up the aluminum right here and it won't be any good. So just put the hook in the front. Leave it pretty loose. Then when you get the fork guard on there, we'll straighten it up. Pretty simple. Just put the fork guard back on the way you took it off. With this, there's 3 bolts, so I just put all of them, thread them all in before I tighten any of them. The inside one, I just use like a little ratchet wrench to get in there. So. Got all those in there. I'm just gonna tighten these. Just kind of space your fork guard out a little bit so it doesn't rub on your fork. Just kind of hold it out just a little bit while you tighten it and it'll stay. All right. Now that's in, you've got your button and you got your ring here. All you want to do with the ring is just take something straight, like a screwdriver or a T-handle, and just put it right in the middle of the button. And it'll give you a straight line to where the ring needs to be. So that looks good right there. Just leave that like that. I like to just barely put some pressure on the top of it so it doesn't move, and then you can it's just a number 3 Allen on the hammerhead one. And there's 2 bolts on this one, so you don't want to get it over tight because you'll squish some bushings in there. So just tight enough to where when you put some pressure on it isn't going to move. So we'll tighten this one down. It's just a pinch style clamp, so pinch that down. That was this week's TransWorld Motocross how-to presented by Lucas Oil on how to put a fork hole shot button on. Thanks a lot.